Okay, this is Rubicon Real Estate, and we're all set up right then. You didn't chop off my head or anything, right? You got me on
No,
there?
I'm cutting him off.
You got it. Get David on there. Okay, buying versus renting. I
was just
almost
cutting
knew
you off.
instinctively that if you're paying rent, you're making a mistake. Okay? I just knew that. Because when you pay rent, you've got absolutely nothing at the end of the game. Right? You just move out and that's the end of it. In this little table, when you look at it, you can use this when you're working with a buyer or when someone who is paying rent. If someone is paying $1,500 in rent, it would be great if you could help them become a buyer and own something. And this is very possible. Do you need one of these?
I have it.
Okay. And there are certain advantages of renting, meaning a certain amount of tax benefits, which are explained in here. The thing that strikes me is look at this person who's paying $1,500 a month in rent, whether it's to rent an apartment or a house. In 10 years, that person has spent $232,000. The way the title company has figured it, and I think they're right about this, the point of view that they took. Okay? That's money gone. See, when you pay rent, and this is what I say to buyers, and it's a wonderful closing line. When you're renting, you're paying for it, but you don't own it. Isn't that true? You're paying for it, but you don't own it. What were you going to say?
If we had the list of all the apartment renter and mailing a page like that to each one of them.
Well, what we did a while back, agents actually went around and put it in mailboxes. Why rent when you can buy? And did certain things. And everybody, the apartment house manager got very upset. The owners called us, they got very upset. So at this time, I think that's a great idea. And I think someone should buy a mailing list of people who rent apartments and are paying $1,500 or more a month. Because as you go towards the boulevard, those rents get very high, I think. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yes, they do.
Right? Okay. So these people, a lot of times they can buy and they don't know it. I told you about the woman who came to take my blood for Coumadin. All right? She came, she's making $65,000 a year, and she's paying rent. She bought a condo, which is what we're going to talk about next. And that was a deal that I did. It was great. I said, come in, take some more blood. You know? By the way, it was, everybody you meet is in real estate. It just is a question of what area of real estate are they in, right? She was a very good buyer. She was great. There was a single woman, worked hard, had some savings, $65,000 a year income. That's a buyer. And she didn't know it. And I said you could go FHA. You could go low down payment, seller will carry, and we make the deal. And it works. Okay? So I look at this graph here, and you can see how much money are you putting out, and what are you getting for it. And when you're paying rent, you get the use of the apartment house, and not much more. And if you're getting ordinary income, right? Ordinary income is taxable, probably at the rate of 30%. Okay? With owning a home, you can offset it. Okay, with your taxes, a little bit with taxes and your interest rate, yeah, you get a little benefit. When I buy, I'm looking for appreciation. So what do? You buy the ugliest rundown house in the best area that you can afford. That's what you do, and you never violate that. The location is everything. This listing I have, the only thing selling that house, it's a fixer, is location. It's in Granada Hills. It's a beautiful area. Not fancy, not luxurious, but really nice bread and butter. Very conforming. A nice, quiet place to live. That's what sold that house. That house is a nightmare. Do you agree, Nicole?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Bad.
I'm going to tell you, no one knows what it is, but it's worth $314, $325. We got it at $380.
What area?
Granada Hills. It's great. It's already sold. We're opening escrow Monday. And another thing, don't ever let anybody distract you from the path you're going on. Okay? The guy who owns it, he was a buddy of mine riding motorcycles together years ago. See? Referrals. It's a referral business. Okay? That's how I got my listing. Okay, we're having a lot of fun with this, by the way. And location. Again, you buy the ugliest house in the best location you could find for what you want to pay. And then you start working on it. Now, one thing I want Nicole to do, Jose should be doing it today, but if he's not doing it, Nicole's going to do it. She's going to go around and give flyers out introducing the people who are homeowners in the area, kind of door knock and talk to them, give them a flyer, and tell them about the property on Blucher that we have just sold it, okay? Now, Jose supposedly is doing that right now, okay? Because I got 2 letters in front of you, Andy, on my desk from people who wanted to sit my listing. 2 people have written and called me on the telephone, say, Nick, can we show your listing and have an open house on your listing, and we will give out 200 of our flyers in the neighborhood. Why? Why? Because they want to get a listing, and they might get a buyer to sell my listing. Okay? Those are hustlers. Those are good agents, by the way. And so I told Jose, well, why don't you do it? And if you don't do it, we'll have Nicole and I will work something out and do it. Because that's very possible that you might wind up with another listing, very easy, or a buyer. Okay? Plus, Nicole and I did a mailing in the whole area. But the mailing was, I think, was a great thing to do, but what really worked was the 300 agents with the computer. That was the thing. That worked. Okay?
Okay, I give you the wrong paper.
What did you give me?
I give you the wrong paper.
Don't worry about it. I'll fix
No.
it up later. I know. I see it in the back. You want it?
Yes.
And don't tell me you lost
One
it.
more.
For crying out loud. He torments me, Eve. All right. Okay. County records, right? And now, renting, you will never get out of the hole. Okay? You've got to buy. And you've got to, you can fix it up, do whatever you want to do, and then sell it, put it on the market. And you're already halfway in the door with all of this experience with Rubicon and escrow and money, the lenders. We got the whole thing moving here like a machine. Michael, it's becoming a money machine, Michael. It's a money machine. The trouble is you got to do something. The trouble is you got to work, right? Got to work. Anthony, it doesn't happen, you know, and you got to work. You got to walk the neighborhood. It's beautiful to walk a neighborhood, pick the ugliest house on the block, write down the address, go to the computer, go to county records, which we just spoke about, or call the title company and get a property profile. You get the name of the owner and the mailing address of the owner. That you always get. You don't always get the telephone, okay? You get that information and you write to that owner. And you tell them, I'm looking to buy my first house. Tell the truth. I want to buy my first house, and I'm looking for a house that I could help and maybe fix it up or do something with it, and maybe you could help me with this. You'd be surprised at the response you get, and you might even go to that house. Now, if the house is really run down, it may be because there's a tenant living there. That's okay, because you have the address of the property, and if you see the mailing address of the owner is different, well, then the owner doesn't live there. The owner's renting it out. And maybe they want to unload it. I have an attorney who just gets rid of bad tenants. You get the tenant out, you get the listing, and you sell it. But that's what I would do. You pick the ugliest house on the block. Now, Nicole, if we get back to Granada Hills, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Not on every block, but you'll walk around the neighborhood, whatever it is you're doing, and you'll see that one house that is a disaster, besides my listing. This is another one, all right?
Okay.
And that's the house, the property, we write down the address, and then we come to Rubicon, and then we run it through the system. What do you got?
Also send a letter to the tenant over there and says you're paying way too much rent. You can buy a house for the amount of rent you pay.
That's a possibility, and then the tenant will talk to the owner, and the both of them are gonna hate you.
Or
The
love
tenant will
it.
hate you because you wanna sell it,
Or
and
love
the
it.
owner will hate you because he's gonna lose a tenant.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
lousy goddamn
Who
idea.
cares?
Jesus Christ, it makes
We're
someone
into
feel
big
Well, that's
money.
good,
He's
because
in
like,
fantasy land.
even when he's saying stuff, like, other ideas can come up, even if it's bad or good, and that's ruled out, but at least we know.
Are you
Based on what
talking
you-
about him?
Huh?
Are you talking about him?
Just, ideas in
He's
general.
dangerous. I'm telling
He
you.
doesn't look dangerous.
Yeah, they all think he looks like a saint. Are you kidding?
True.
He doesn't look dangerous.
See, jealousy here
Anyway,
is always.
we're envious of his success. That's what this is about. Okay, so anyway, look, you've got to buy. You got to buy. And I always say, new people come in, even when they don't have their real estate license, they got to buy. Somehow or another, you've got to buy. Okay, so that's one way to buy a house. But then I think at this point we can stop the tape. We'll do another tape on another subject, which is a follow-up to this. Okay? All right, so that's all.